Hey y'all. Boiler Mechanic is here. He's already spilt a couple beers on his floor in front of him, so allow me to clean that up. So I want to start this commentary out with no, not the French Revolution. What's going on here? I can give a shit less about the French Revolution. Yes, this is great. So, excuse me. I went on the scale today and I noticed that I was kind of light. I was 205 pounds. So I bought beer. So I've been drinking some beer. So forgive me. So the Peasants' Revolt of 1381. So this is great. So basically, here in the Wikipedia article, I guess the WEF inserted this thing. So the socio-economic and political tensions created by the Black Death in the 1340s contributed to the Peasants' Revolt. No, it didn't, actually. The people of England had been dealing with the Black Death for hundreds of years at this point. So, no, the Black Death had nothing to do with the Peasants' Revolt. What did have a lot to do with the Peasants' Revolt was the high taxes resulting from the conflict with France during the 100 Years' War. So that's the main thing. Okay. The final trigger was a tax collector, John Bampton, in Essex, on 30 May 1381, attempted to collect unpaid poll taxes in Brentwood, and that ended in a violent confrontation. So basically, the tax collector was being an asshole, as they are wont, and he caused a riot. And that riot turned into this massive rebellion. Now, if the King of England at the time wasn't 14 years old and basically inbred, perhaps this riot would have never turned into a rebellion. But what ended up happening was this riot turned into a huge rebellion, and the people of England, like all around London, just started to head towards London with pitchforks and torches, literally. And they found the King of England hanging out in the streets, and they chased him all over London. All right, and he ran into the Tower of London. It's here in the Wikipedia article. So the King of England, the 14-year-old King of England, took refuge in the Tower of London. And, it was a big old-fashioned rebellion. Pitchforks, torches, all of that. Now, the reason I bring up, this is one of my favorite, one of my favorite things in English history. And why is that? Because the peasants literally chased the King of England all over London. They literally chased him all over London until he finally holed up in the Tower of London. But I want to show you something else. Now, this is a big march in Egypt. Now, watch this. Looks pretty impressive, right? That's a lot of people. That's a lot of people, right? So, okay. So they've been making a big deal about this, right? Uh, Let me just close this. So they've been making a big deal about this. You know, people in Egypt and Jordan, Lebanon, Syria, Saudi Arabia, Iraq, Iran. They're pissed off at what's going on in Gaza, which is understandable. But what is marching in the streets going to do? Were they threatening in any way? I mean, when you just saw that, let me pause it and let me bring that back up. Okay, I'm going to unpause it. Am I unpaused? Yes. So here we go. This is the same. So do you see the president of Egypt's house anywhere in the vicinity of this crowd? Do you see it? I don't see it. I don't see the president of Egypt or his house or his children. I don't see anybody in the government being threatened by this. I don't see it. Look at here. I got another one I just noticed because DD Geopolitics has been fantastic on the Gaza situation. And so, not to, denigrate anything she's doing, but I just want to show these clips that she's posting. Here we have, look at this. Here we have in London, we have a bunch of British people, and they are marching. They're marching in London. And how does that save the Palestinian people, I wonder? How does that save the Palestinian people? How, like right now, the Israelis have cut off all the internet and they're bombing the fuck out of the Palestinians. How does that help the Palestinians? It doesn't. It does nothing. You know what this does? This makes pathetic urban civilians feel good about themselves. That's what it does. It doesn't help Palestinians at all. It doesn't help them. It pisses me off to see this. You have all of these shit libs coming out, and they're marching, and a lot of them actually are monetizing, right? But are they actually doing anything? Are they actually saving one life? I don't think they are, most of them. They're out there, they're making themselves feel better because they're pathetic civilians. That's what they are. Really, this is the most pathetic shit. These fucking Brits who basically are benefiting off of the backs of the Arab people in the first place, and they're out there marching. But besides that, look at them. What are they actually accomplishing? They're not accomplishing anything. They're not. What they're accomplishing is they're making themselves feel better about themselves. That's what they're actually doing. It's really pathetic. I mean, I have more respect for the Egyptians over here, I have more respect for the Egyptians doing their thing than the British cocksuckers who are, making a big show about marching across the London Bridge. Like, big whoop. Is that actually helping? Does this help one Palestinian in Gaza. Is this helping one Palestinian? So, here's the story. I'm taking the mic in my hand now. I remember when I was hanging out with all these FARC people and these, revolutionary Latin American communists and all this. And we had the second and third generation Shining Path people. But at the dinner that we were at, there was a OG Shining Path guy. And these young activists, they were talking about how they were blocking roads and they were protesting in front of the Capitol at Lima, and they were, doing whatever they did, pouring sugar into the fucking police vehicles, whatever they did, and the OG Shining Path guy was like, you can do all that, and they're going to, they being the government, they're going to pretend like they care about what you're doing. They're going to pretend to be outraged. They're going to pretend to be shocked. They're going to pretend to be concerned. But behind the scenes, while you're sitting there holding up signs in front of the Capitol building at Lima, or blocking some road somewhere in Peru, while you're doing that, they're laughing at you. They're laughing at you. They don't care that you're doing that. And that's how I feel about this. I just keep coming back to that because I've experienced that myself. And I just keep seeing this picture of of these Brits whose lives, whose good fortunes actually come off the backs of Arab suffering, by the way. But that's beside the point. And I look at these Brits and I say, in Buckingham Palace or in the House of Commons, they're looking at this and they're like, well, they're laughing at these people. They're laughing at you because you're not actually threatening anybody. The old school Shining Path people, they used to go to police stations and they used to fucking drag everybody out, and they used to fucking pull their entrails out of their stomachs and shit. Like, they used to do really horrific shit. And I'm not saying that's acceptable, right? But they used to do that kind of shit. Actually, the kind of shit the original Shining Path OGs used to do was counterproductive. But this here, this is accomplishing nothing. The power structure is not threatened by this. This doesn't threaten anybody. And this shit here, this Million Man March that they're marketing it as a Million Man March. I'm gonna drink some of this beer now. Excuse me. This Million Man March. Where is President Sisi's palace? I don't see it anywhere here. It's nowhere here. Why does he care? In other words, like, all of these Middle Eastern autocracies, they're not going to do shit to Israel until they feel threatened, right? So these boomers and their kids can go out and they can march in the streets. Doesn't make a damn bit of difference. They should have marched to President Sisi's palace. I mean, let's go back to another I'm not going to look it up right now, but I can do this off the top of my head. So, the French Revolution starts with a gaggle of women who were pissed off at the price of bread, right? So they were somewhere in Paris. A couple women were in some market in Paris, and the price of bread was unacceptable. And these poor women, they were pissed off. And they started walking, and they're like, yo, let's go to the palace at Versailles, all right? And all these other women, it was a women's march. It's really amazing. There was a women's march in Paris, France. And these women were pissed off, these poor women, barefoot. It was raining that day. I think it was like pouring that day. And they just started walking to the palace in Versailles. And as they marched, other women started to just join their gaggle until it became this mob of like 10,000 poor barefoot women. And they just walk up to the palace in Versailles and post up, you know? 10,000, 15,000 poor ass barefoot women in the rain. And they just sit out there in front of King Louis the 16th's palace, and they're just screaming at him like, fuck you. Fuck you, fuck you, fuck you, Biden, you know, fuck Joe Biden, you know, that whole thing. They did fuck King Louis, fuck King Louis. And the guards come out, you know, and the guards, you know, are like, yo, we can't just like start shooting these people because it's like mostly women, you know, and they're like, what the fuck do we do? And nobody in the palace had a clue what to do because outside in front of the palace was a mob of 10,000 angry, poor women. And they were screaming and they started throwing shit at the guards. And the guards are like, well, we can't just shoot. I mean, if it was men, we could just massacre them. But these are women. We can't just massacre them. And that was the moment when the French monarchy fell apart right there. That was the moment when the French monarchy fell apart. From there, it was all over. That is how you destroy a regime. This marching down a random street. I don't see the president Sisi's palace anywhere around here. You're not accomplishing anything. You're not accomplishing anything. And the same goes true here in London. You're not accomplishing anything. And with that protest in Grand Central Station, you're not accomplishing anything. You have to threaten them. You have to scare them. It's not that hard. They're cowards. All you have to do is, if you got that crowd right there in front of Richie Sunak's house, and his family was in there, and you surrounded it, and you don't have to you don't have to make an actual threat. All you have to do is surround it. That would scare the fuck out of them. These people are cowards. But this accomplishes nothing. So my point is, this is all virtue signaling. This is people who are, I don't know, maybe they're empty inside. Maybe they are lacking purpose in their life and they want to fight for some sort of cause. They want to have a meaning. They're lacking meaning. But this is actually not accomplishing anything. But to them, see, the reason they're doing it, they're not doing it to actually help the Palestinian people. All of these people on this bridge, most of them, they don't actually, their primary reason for doing what they're doing is not to help a Palestinian. No. It is to make themselves feel better because they're empty inside, because they're dead inside. Okay? That's why they are doing that. I never had to do that in my life, you know. I never had to do this because I went to places, I did things, and I didn't even want to do these things. I didn't want to go to Iraq. I didn't want to go to these places, but I did it. It was crazy. I came home. But these people, they've never left, you know, they've never left the comfort of their home. They really are lacking meaning in their life. That's what they're doing. It has nothing to do with helping the Palestinian people. So that's where I am with it. What are we at? 21 minutes? I think I'm going to leave it at that. Yeah, I'm going to leave it at that. I am out.